Beyond Brown, the unfinished promise of equality, civil liberties, education, and the ongoing fight for equity. In 1896, the Supreme Court's ruling in Plessy v. Ferguson declared segregation lawful under the idea of separate but equal. For more than 50 years, Black children attended schools that were overcrowded, underfunded, and deprived of the most basic resources, while white schools received steady investment and state support. By the 1940s, these inequalities were woven into every part of public schooling. Classrooms, textbooks, transportation, and even school buildings reflected a system designed to provide opportunity for some children and deny it to others. White students learned in secure, well supplied environments, while Black students were expected to succeed in spaces that limited them from the beginning. This educational divide was not accidental, it was upheld by law and accepted as normal across much of the country. Black parents, teachers, and students pushed back against unequal schooling, organizing for better facilities, fair resources, and the basic dignity that every child deserved. At the same time, white resistance intensified. Groups such as the White Citizens Councils argued that integration threatened the social order and worked aggressively to preserve segregation. As these opposing forces grew louder, the nation reached a breaking point. In 1951, the Brown family of Topeka, Kansas, challenged school segregation after their daughter Linda Brown was denied enrollment in a nearby white school. Their case rose to the Supreme Court, where Chief Justice Earl Warren presided over arguments that would reshape American education. Thurgood Marshall, representing the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, argued the case on behalf of Black families across the nation. On May 17, 1954, the court delivered a unanimous ruling. Separate educational facilities are inherently unequal. With that decision, Brown v. Board of Education overturned Plessy and held that segregation in public schools violated the Equal Protection Clause under the 14th Amendment. It marked a defining moment in American history, affirming what Black families had long understood: separate is not equal.
We have a 5-point program already in effect which will clean up and end segregation on the coaches in the South. And then we're going to the bus transportation area. From there, we're going to local transportation among in the several cities. The health program to get Negroes into hospitals without segregation.
Contemporary data reveals that public schools in the United States have undergone a process of resegregation since the 1990s. In major metropolitan areas, schools are increasingly divided along racial and economic lines, driven by residential sorting, district zoning, and the proliferation of charter schools. Although the courts mandated integration, it did not lead to real change. As resistance grew, many white families moved to suburban areas, a phenomenon known as white flight. Meanwhile, policies like redlining and discriminatory housing practices confined black and brown families to underfunded neighborhoods. With U.S. public schools largely funded by local property taxes, residential segregation directly translated into unequal education. District boundaries replace legal segregation with more subtle, yet equally harmful, forms of inequality. In addition to economic and racial segregation, the recent rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in many schools is further entrenching inequality. Colleges and universities have dismantled DEI offices, and several have ended affirmative action admission policies, which were designed to ensure equal opportunity for underrepresented students. As affirmative action is rolled back, the doors of opportunity are closing for students of color, further deepening the divide between the privileged and the disadvantaged. While Brown v. Board represented a decisive moment in American constitutional history, its promise has not been fully realized. Structural segregation persists, sustained not by legal mandate, but by systems of wealth, housing, and public policy. We've made progress, but if history keeps repeating, how far have we really come? The promise of Brown is not a chapter to close. It is a responsibility we must carry until every child in every classroom truly has an equal chance.